Meg Griffin doesn't have a love life. She has a collection of war crimes committed by the writer's room disguised as relationships. And every time she thinks she's finally found something normal, it mutates into one of the most awkward, uncomfortable disasters you've ever seen in a cartoon. From falling in love with a guy who turns out to be gay and into her brother, to dating a prisoner, to accidentally becoming the mayor's secret lover, Meg's romantic encounters aren't just cringy. They're a full-on horror anthology of teenage desperation and cosmic bad luck. Let's start with the one that looks like a regular high school crush, right up until it explodes in her face. In Friends Without Benefits, Meg gets obsessed with a new boy at school named Kent. He's that guy, popular, out of her league, the kind of teen heartthrob you build an entire daydream playlist around. She spends her days fantasizing about him, replaying imaginary conversations in her head, and convincing herself there is absolutely no way this could ever actually happen. Which, of course, is exactly when it does. After a near-death experience involving Mayor West's driving, Meg decides life is too short to keep crushing from a distance. With a tiny bit of "you're sad and desperate" motivation from Lois, she finally calls Kent to ask him out. She stumbles over her words, panics, barely gets the question out, and somehow he says yes. For Meg, that yes is a religious experience. She celebrates like she just got into her dream college, landed her first job, and got proposed to on the same day. This is the moment she's been waiting for, a real date with a real boy who actually agreed to be there. The date itself? Disaster in slow motion. They go to the movies, and Meg, riding the high of finally having a shot, leans in to kiss him. This is it. Every teen movie says this is where the magic happens. Instead, Kent gently backs away and drops a truth bomb that doesn't just break her heart. It shatters her entire fantasy. He tells her he's gay, and not just that, he's into someone else.
I'm gay.
You are?
Meg has about 3 seconds to wonder if it's her mom before he clarifies. He's attracted to her brother, Chris. That's not just rejection. That's a cosmic-level curveball. She didn't just fall for a guy who wasn't into her, she fell for a guy who wants to date her brother. And while her heart is collapsing, Stewie overhears everything from the window, and because he's Stewie, assumes Kent is actually into him, not Chris. So Meg's crush instantly turns into a cartoon love polygon where everyone is confused and none of the confusion benefits her. Most people would take the L and move on. But Meg is so starved for affection that she grabs onto any remaining scrap of hope. Brian suggests maybe Kent is just confused about his sexuality, and that one thought sends Meg into full denial. She convinces herself he isn't really gay, just going through a phase, and decides her new mission is not to accept his identity, but to change it. She tries to pressure him. That fails harder. Then, in one of her darkest moments, she listens to her equally unhinged friends and decides that if she can't be with Kent, maybe Chris can, just to keep him around. She literally tries to bribe her own brother into doing stuff with Kent for closure.
I mean, if I can't have Kent, then that's the next best thing. I've just got to get Chris to sleep with him.
Only a random act of kindness from Chris, leaving a sweet photo of them together in her drawer, snaps her out of it at the last second. She dumps the plan, but the damage is done. Kent shows up. Everyone realizes how far off the rails Meg has gone, and he calls her a psycho before walking out of her life for good. Her first big romance ends with her crush calling her insane, her family horrified, and her reputation somehow worse than it was when she was just invisible. And that's only one chapter. Because if you think falling for a gay guy who likes your brother is bad, try falling in love with a prisoner. Dial Meg for Murder starts off like a typical Family Guy episode. Peter makes an idiotic decision to join a rodeo, gets wrecked by a bull, and limps home in a full-body regret suit. Meanwhile, Brian lands a gig writing for teen people and decides Meg is the perfect average American teen girl to profile. He expects gossip about crushes and cafeteria drama. What he finds is Meg sneaking off to visit her boyfriend in a high-security penitentiary. Meg's new love interest is Luke, an inmate she met through a prison pen pal program. She's been visiting him, writing him, and building this tragic, romantic narrative in her head where she's the loyal girl waiting for the misunderstood guy who just needs someone to believe in him. His parole hearing fails, he gets 3 more years, and Meg swears she'll wait. In her mind, that's devotion. In everyone else's mind, that's a red flag factory. Brian snitches to Lois and Peter. They freak out, forbid Meg from ever seeing Luke again. No is just the start of the episode. Luke escapes from prison and shows up at Meg's window like a budget Romeo. Now she isn't just dating a convict, she's harboring an escaped one. Luke makes one bad move and Joe in his wheelchair manages to take him down and arrest him. That alone is embarrassing. But the cherry on top? Meg gets arrested too. Not metaphorically, not emotionally. Arrested, charged, and thrown into prison for harboring an escaped convict. She goes away for 3 months. When she gets out, the transformation is shocking. Gone is the insecure, apologetic Meg. In her place is a hardened ex-con with a shaved-down patience level and a full tank of rage. She beats Peter down physically, showers with him just to make him uncomfortable, uses a bucket as a toilet in her room because she's used to prison living, and makes Peter punch Stewie because Stewie can't hit him himself. The girl who just wanted someone to love her comes back as the family's worst nightmare. Her relationship with Luke doesn't just break her heart, it changes who she is. Dating a convict doesn't give her a fairy tale bad boy redemption arc. It gives her trauma, a criminal record, and a brief taste of power that evaporates as soon as the episode resets. And the universe still isn't done with her, because eventually Meg manages to land something that looks respectable on paper, an internship at Mayor Adam West's office. For once, it isn't about a boy, it's about her future. She's working in government, she has a boss who trusts her, she's contributing to the city. Brian, who's stuck driving cabs and getting parking tickets, is jealous that even Meg has her life more together than he does. But this is Family Guy, and nothing stays wholesome for long. Meg develops a crush on Mayor West. That alone is awkward. Huge age gap, power imbalance, and the fact that West is one of the most eccentric humans in the entire show. But then that crush turns into a full-blown relationship. They start seeing each other outside of work. They end up at a motel together. Meanwhile, Brian and Stewie, convinced that West is corrupt, are tailing him Watergate-style to expose his crimes. They sneak into the motel, peer through a hole in the wall, expecting to catch the mayor with a prostitute, and instead see Meg in bed with him. The shock is real. Stewie is thrilled. Oh my God, it's Meg! Because from his perspective, this scandal is content. Brian confronts Meg with photographic proof. She doesn't deny it. She defends it. In her mind, this is the first time a man with status and power has chosen her. She sees herself as special, not exploited. She believes West loves her. For a moment, Meg isn't the butt of the joke. She's the lead in her own forbidden romance. But the world outside that motel room doesn't see it that way. When she tells West about the photos and the risk, he realizes that if this goes public, Meg, not him, is the one whose life will be ruined. Her reputation, her future, everything gets burned. It's one of the rare times Meg's love story ends not with cruelty, but with someone protecting her. And yet it's still built on an uncomfortable foundation. A teenage intern and her boss having a secret romance in a motel. Even her rare, gentle breakup is wrapped in awkwardness. They try Neil Goldman. No luck, wrong timing, wrong energy. Then they stumble on Kevin Swanson, who's literally about to live stream his own suicide. Instead of calling for help like normal people, they decide, perfect boyfriend material for Meg. They set up a date at a lounge. Stewie and Brian go full undercover, pretending to be hostess and waiter. When Meg comes back from the date, Stewie and Brian brace for disaster. And instead, she's glowing. Not because Kevin swept her off her feet, but because she dumped him. She realized he was a walking red flag festival and ended it herself. For once, the awkward encounter turns into a win. The relationship was a mess, but breaking up with him gave her confidence. In another storyline, she tries to do everything right with her boyfriend Doug when the school replaces sex education with abstinence preaching. They both pledge purity. They buy into the fear-based propaganda that condoms fail 100% of the time. Their solution? Ear sex. Yes,
It appears that students have taken to having ear sex in lieu of traditional intercourse.
she tells Doug, if we really care about each other, it's okay to have sex. We'll be safe, we'll use a condom. He sees Meg naked and dumps her. No cheating, no drama, just instant rejection the second she's vulnerable. Even when someone genuinely likes her, like Kevin or Adam West, the relationship is wrapped in circumstances that make it either unstable, unhealthy, or doomed. Even when she finally has the upper hand, like post-prison Meg, the show won't let her keep it. It always resets her back to the same role, the girl who doesn't get picked. What makes Meg's romantic life so uncomfortable isn't just the shock factor. It's the repetition, the pattern, the way she keeps reaching for something basic, respect, attraction, affection, and gets handed increasingly cursed versions of it. Gay crush into your brother, prison boyfriend, ear sex, mayor fling, each one more unhinged than the last. And yet, she never fully stops trying. She gets knocked down, humiliated, heartbroken, and emotionally wrecked, but she always steps into another episode ready to chase the next disaster. That persistence is its own kind of tragic resilience. Meg Griffin's love life is a joke in the show, but when you put all of her romantic encounters side by side, it becomes something else too. A strangely compelling portrait of how a character can be written to lose over and over again and still keep showing up. If this deep dive into Meg Griffin's most awkward and uncomfortable romantic encounters made you look at her a little differently or made you feel just a tiny bit better about your own dating history, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with the friend who says, "My love life is cursed." Hit like so more Family Guy fans find it, and subscribe if you want more breakdowns of the wild, dark, and unexpectedly emotional stories hiding inside your favorite animated shows.